Hey everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brittany. I've worked with the Rape Crisis Center for going on about 5 years now, both as a crisis intervention specialist, working in the hospital with survivors, as well as a community educator. So I am a sociologist by trade, and I specifically study violence, which has given me a lot of opportunity over the years to lend my expertise to RCC and work collaboratively with them to make sure that we're always engaged in informed practice in service to our community. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about an upcoming women's only self-defense seminar that is being offered by STW Krav Maga in support of our efforts at the Rape Crisis Center. Now, we've been working with Pete Hardy and his team at STW for a number of years now through seminars like this one. And sometimes we get a few questions as to what exactly the value of these types of seminars are when it comes to sexual assault prevention. So let me see if I can give you a little bit of perspective here. When we approach sexual assault prevention, we apply something called a social ecological model. So here's a little illustration for you. But the basic idea here is that the causes, consequences, and opportunities for intervention when it comes to sexual assault prevention can be found at multiple different levels. So at the intrapersonal level, that's the individual level, we want to be sure that individuals have the skill set and the knowledge necessary. At the interpersonal level, we're looking at relationships, building healthy relationships, knowing what those are. At the community and organizational levels, we're looking at that bigger picture of how our communities encourage or discourage sexual violence. And then at that policy level, we're looking at the much bigger picture of how our society encourages or discourages sexual violence. Now, when it comes to self-defense seminars, we're usually talking about what we call risk avoidance techniques. And what that means is that you are teaching individuals the skills they need in order to lower their risk of victimization through that skill set. Now, I can already hear what you're thinking, but Brittany, isn't that just a way of saying that it's victims' jobs to protect themselves? Isn't that a slippery slope towards victim blaming if something does happen? So you've probably heard the saying, instead of teaching girls not to get raped, we should teach boys not to rape. By and large, that, what we call primary prevention, that is the direction that sexual assault prevention is heading. The most effective evidence-based programs that we have for reducing rates of sexual violence are based on primary prevention strategies. But that doesn't mean that there's no room anymore for risk avoidance strategies. So what I'd like to do here is to cast risk avoidance strategies in a slightly different light. Instead of thinking of self-defense seminars only as a means of preventing violence at an individual level, protecting myself, let's expand it a little bit more. So when I look at self-defense seminars, what I see is less of a quick way to learn a life-saving technique, because let's be real here. You can take the most highly trained, skilled, professional MMA fighter, and they can still be incapacitated, they can still be raped. There's absolutely no amount of training that will make you completely invincible. So instead, when I look at self-defense seminars, what I see is an opportunity in an activity in personal and collective empowerment building. It's about self-efficacy, so one's confidence in their ability to do something. Now, you cannot possibly learn every single skill set you need to fight off an attacker in one afternoon. But what you can get is an increase in your confidence in your ability to fight. And fight doesn't have to mean physically fight. That word can be taken to mean fight socially, fight politically, fight figuratively, whatever it is that you need that word to mean. What these seminars do best is to empower women to reclaim their voice, to reclaim their strength, and to reclaim their power. And it does that in an environment where they're surrounded by other women who are perhaps going through many of the same struggles as them, who may be a survivor themselves, and who are coming together to take a stand and to fight back for themselves, for their sisters, for their community. So this isn't just intrapersonal, this is interpersonal, this is community, this is so much bigger. Through seminars like this one, you're improving your own confidence in your ability to fight, but more importantly, we are building the message that together we can fight sexual violence. It doesn't have to be you should fight, or you should have fought, or you should have fought harder, because that's just another way of saying it's your responsibility or it's your fault, and that is absolutely never the case when it comes to sexual violence. What we are saying, And the message we're trying to promote here is that we can fight. We should fight, and we will fight. The Rape Crisis Center has been fighting for this city for over 40 years, and I am extremely proud to be able to fight with them. I can also personally attest to the dedication and the genuine concern for the community that Mr. Hardy and all of his instructors at STW truly have. I've personally been training with them for a few years now. I started taking classes at STW because of the work I do with the Rape Crisis Center. So as a crisis intervention specialist, you can probably imagine the weight of the stories I hear on a pretty regular basis. And I needed something to help me feel empowered again. Not something to tell me if I just do this, then I'll always be safe, or if I just learn this skill set, then I'll never be a victim, because I know that's not going to happen, that I'll never get that magical thing, right? But I needed something to show me that no matter the obstacles, no matter how tough it got, no matter what was in my way, I can keep pushing forward. I can keep fighting. And I needed that in a context of a group that I knew had my back, that will fight for me and that will fight with me. So that was what I got through these seminars, and that's what I've gotten through training with Pete and all of the instructors at STW. The Rape Crisis Center has had San Antonio's back for a long time and continues to fight for this city, and Mr. Hardy and his team have been huge advocates and supporters of our efforts. Having done several of these seminars myself, I can tell you that the feeling in that room is one of collective power more than anything, and that's what I'm asking you to come experience. So we're asking you to come fight with us, to fight for yourself, to fight for your city, and to fight for each other. Because this fight is so much bigger than any one person can do on their own. I will be there Saturday, and I hope to see you there as well. Come say hi.